Hello, fifth graders. Today we're going to go over order of operations, how to add decimals, how to compare numbers, how to complete the whole number. So for the first section, order of operations, and it says solve using PEMDAS. PEMDAS is an acronym over here on the right side that determines how to find the order of operations, how to determine the order of operations. So we're going to go over number 2 together. So before we go into solving the actual problem, I'm going to go over what the PEMDAS stands for. So P stands for parentheses, E for exponents, M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So we're going to go from top to bottom. This is the order in which the operations go. So you have to first solve out parentheses before you can do exponents and so on. So number 2, so the way I like to do this is first, it says 27 divided by 3, so we have a division sign here. Minus 3, so we have a division sign and a minus sign. This is the first thing that I like to do, circle the different operations in the problem. Well, now for number 2, we're only dealing with division and subtraction, so we're just going to look at these two in the acronym. And we know that division comes before the subtraction, which means we have to do division first and then subtraction first. So that's how you use the acronym. So 27 divided by 3, we're going to first do that, which we know as 9. And then we're going to subtract by 3. We'll end up with 6. So our final answer is 6. So that's why order of operations is important, because you don't want to do 3 minus 3 before 27 divided by 3. You'll end up with a completely different answer, which is incorrect. So for the second section we're going to go over is how to add decimals, and we're going to be adding number 3, 1.5 plus 0.07. So for adding, when we add 3 plus 2, we have to write it like this, in this format, and then add it like this. Well, we're going to do the same for decimal as well. So 1.5 plus 0.07. So the way I like to put it vertically, I like to put the number of digits that has a greater number of digits on the top, which is 0.07. And then I look at the next number, 1.5, the other number, and I'm going to match the decimal places. So they're sitting on top of each other like this. They have to be aligned. You cannot put it like this, 0.07 plus 1.5. You cannot do it like this. The decimals aren't aligned, so it's incorrect. You have to place the decimal on the top of each other like this. And now I'm just going to fill in the 0 over here to make it easier for us to add. And then from here, we just add normally. 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 5 is 5. 1 plus 0 is 1. And now, after you add it like this, now we have to place the decimal point. So when we place these two numbers vertically one on top of another, we place it aligned like this. So we're going to follow the same line and place a decimal over here, creating a linear line over here, a vertical linear line. And that's where all the decimal points are going to go. So your final answer for number 3 is 1.57. Always make sure to align it like this, or you will get a completely different answer. Now, for the third section we're going to go over is how to compare numbers. So over here, I wrote the 3 different comparing number signs. So there's the greater than or equal. So there's the greater than sign, there's the equal to sign, there's the less than sign. So to solve these problems, you're going to be using these 3 different signs and filling them into these blanks. Well, we're just going to go over number 3 over here. So I wrote down the steps to determine which signs we use. So if you look at the first step, it says count the number of digits. Wait, so before I go over this, I just wanted to say, what you're basically doing when you compare numbers is to see which one's greater, which one's less than, and if they're equal to. So now that's where these signs come in, which tell you that. So again, let me just go to the steps again. So the first step says count the number of digits. So the first thing I'm going to do to determine which is greater, which is less, or which is if they're equal to each other is to count the number of digits. So number 3, we see that there's 6 digits total. Now I'm going to look at the second number. There's, again, 6 digits in total. Oops, 6 digits. Okay, ignore that. It's at 6. So since they have the same number of digits, we're going to go on to the second step. If they didn't have the same number of digits, if like pretend this left number had 5 digits while the right number has 6 digits, that means the 5-digit one is less than. So you will place the less than sign if it had less number of digits. If it had a greater number of digits, then you will put a greater sign like this. So since they're the same, we're going to move on to the second step. It says if same number of digits, compare the first digit. And then if same first digit, compare the second digit and continue on. So what this means is that, so now we confirm they have the same number of digits. Now what? Well, we're going to look at the first digit. So the first digit of the left side is 3. The first digit of the second number is 3 as well. So they're the same, so we're going to move on to the second digit. So the left side has a second digit of 5. The right side has a second digit of 6. Okay, now we have different numbers. Now from here, we're going to compare them. We have a 5 on the left. We have a 6 on the right. So obviously 6 is greater, 5 is less than 6. So we're going to place the less than sign. So that's basically it. So you're going to follow through all these steps. If they have the same, you're going to keep moving on to the next step. But if they do not have the same, from there you can place these signs like I did for this. Now for the next section we're going to go over is how to complete the whole number. It says find the missing number. We're going to find the missing number for number 2 and number 4. So the way I like to find the missing number is using variables. I like to place the missing number as an x as a variable. So I'm going to rewrite it with the variable 5/11 plus x equal 1. So now from here, in order to find x, all we have to do is subtract 5/11. I'm using algebra here. Subtract 5/11 to both sides. Well, x will equal 1 minus 5/11. Now, this is where we're going to be incorporating our knowledge of how to subtract fractions. So, to subtract fractions, we need to first have them as a common denominator. Well, 1/1 is essentially having 1 as its denominator, so they do not have a common denominator, so we have to get them to have the same denominator. So we're going to find the least common multiple of 1 and 11, and if you know your math, you will know that the least common multiple of them is 11. So I'm going to make 1/1 have a denominator of 11 to have a common denominator. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 11, so you'll get 11/11. Now you can rewrite it as 11/11 minus 5/11. Now since they have a common denominator, this common denominator is going to be our new denominator, and we're just going to subtract these numerator. So 11 minus 5, which is 6. So our final answer for number 2 should be 6/11. Now I'm going to quickly go over number 4, just the same process, but different numbers, of course. So I'm going to use x again as my variable. And then I'm going to subtract 10/9. And if I do that to the left side, I'm going to do the same for the right side. And then I'll end up with 2 minus 10/9. Of course, I got to make them have a common denominator, which they don't right now. So I know that least common multiple is 9. So I'm going to multiply both numerator and denominator in order to have 9 as its denominator. So I'll end up with 18/9. So I'm going to replace that and rewrite it like this. And then they have a common denominator now. This will be our new denominator, and we just subtract the numerators. 18 minus 10, which is 8. So our final answer for number 4 should be 8/9. And that was pretty easy, and that's it for today.